This is another very important word to really take into effect. When the trial of Jesus was going on, they were accusing him of trying to subvert the authority of Caesar, that he was trying to overpower and set up a kingdom as a king. And he clearly stated in his situation with Pontius Pilate that he was not a physical king at that time. His kingdom was spiritual, and that his kingdom was not of the world, the temporal world, the civil world that would have conflicted with Caesar. And that the reason why his followers, his disciples, were not to take up arms to protect him like physical leaders with a physical kingdom in the world of what we'd see amongst the nations, that proved that he was the Prince of Peace. So he would be the pure pacifist. He took up no arms. I know this is unfortunately very, very controversial because there are a lot of Christian groups in the United States, especially, that believe that they have the right to bear arms, and they're going to actually do physical violence in order to supposedly protect their position in their ridiculous belief that their position as a citizen of the United States. I don't care what form they want to believe it in. I know people believe that there's like two levels of citizenship there. This is all nonsense anyways, but the overall thing is an American is a pagan. You've renounced your fidelity to Jesus Christ just claiming you're an American. So it's bad enough if you're already assuming American, position. It just is no different than if I said I was a Canadian because I just said I'm not a Christian. So in the oath of allegiance, they deny the sovereignty of Jesus Christ because they have to renounce any fidelity to any foreign prince or anything part of nobility. And Jesus' position as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords is definitely nobility, but it's also he is a prince. So there's no possible way you can be an American and be a Christian in actuality. In theory, people would like to believe that they're allowed to have a belief in Jesus Christ as an American, but you're not going to be an American and a Christian under the same hat. The word American, in its rudimentary meaning, is a Gentile terminology, as would the word Italian and many other nationalities that we accept as a division of what we believe in mankind. But this is all fiction. This is all nonsense, and it has nothing to do with God. So our situation is to come out from among them and be separate. We're not supposed to be part of any of these nations. So the United States is a Gentile 20 nation, as is Canada and all these other nations. So the whole debate on this is just not something I'm going to get into right now. Whether you like what I'm saying or not, it really doesn't matter. It's just because you're refusing to wake up and smell the coffee on the truth of what is. So the definition here, hearsay, when they were trying Jesus, they were claiming that he was something contrary to what he was stating. He was stating truth. The world of the Roman civil system was based on fiction, legal fiction, so not on truth. So everything in the world of the Roman system was based on an accusatory system that we actually use even today. So you're accused of being indebted to the legal state, even though you were never born as a debtor to the legal state. Though it appears that in the process of becoming a Christian, accepting Jesus Christ, you would appear to almost be in the category of sinners, debtors. So they have a setup that is an accusatory system on hearsay. So the statement of birth is nothing more than hearsay. It's a statement. It's not a sworn statement. Even the government itself stays outside the frame of this framing, of this accusatory statement. And then basically they issue basically two signing authorities, male and female, Registrar General, Deputy Registrar General. The Registrar General, from my examination, is always a male. The deputy is always a female. I don't know if this is occurring right across the board, but I can tell you in Canada that seems to be the format. So when we talk about hearsay, we're talking about gossip. It's not valid truth. It's a rumor, and it doesn't have anything to do with actual fact. It's dealing with fiction. So it's an allegation that somebody in somehow is basically in some way related to a title based at time of birth. Now, because the child could never enter into a contract, and because legal citizenship requires these two names somehow blended together, merged in some manner, there is no possible way a child could enter into a contract. So therefore, the document is really hearsay. The parents are even noted as informants, which would tell you further there's a problem going on. It appears to be a criminal act going on, and that's why it's guilty or not guilty. It's not innocent, because a criminal act does not have the understanding of innocence. It's based on the fact, or assuming the fiction, of a legal title that says you're a debtor. So this whole framing of accusation is no different what they did with Jesus Christ on the trial. They actually tried him as if he was actually attacking the de facto regime of the Romans, because they went into many areas and just literally conquered people and then claimed them as their own, even though they weren't. And you can't be a fiction and claim something of truth, but you do need consent for people to merge into something like this. So this whole system is a separation and a division between what is truthful and what is fiction. So it is not in, it shouldn't surprise us that a document that your parents fill out separates the two situations, because they don't know what you're going to do, what choice you're going to do. They basically at birth accuse you. Now, this is an interesting situation because it follows the Roman Catholic process of what they call baptism. Now, in the jus soli fiction system of the Romans, it would be implied that you're a citizen by birth, so I could try you with a title if you ended up in conflict with our system in any way, being a Roman civil system. So they had the jus soli citizenship by birth, but we could never be birthed a legal citizen, because in theory, a legal citizen comes with duties, debts, and obligations. No child could ever enter into a contract of that. Therefore, this would be nothing more than a void contract right off the top. So what they did was they issued a discharge document that they signed, but they hoped that at the best end, you would surety this fiction. It's not clear. It's just ambiguous. It just says name. And that's why most of if you've ever been to a courtroom and you see the docket, it'll only say, if the name is John Smith, you think, it'll show up name Smith, John. And then Smith, John would only relate to the certificate that popped out of this arrangement. But you're showing up trying to be that. But in essence, the scammers have signed this. Because in the Roman Catholic Church of bringing someone in under the Roman Catholic system of sin, they needed to basically follow a process. So what they did was they baptized the child. A child can never be baptized, in essence, because a child has no consent to elect to Jesus Christ or to the legal system. So there would be no baptism. Okay? But in the fiction of the romance, the fiction, the people who actually are professional liars, the Roman Catholic Church put a system into place where they actually put a watermark on the birth registration document. So they have a watermark on there. They're making an allegation that you have a civil condition status. We know we've done a video prior that said when Pope Francis did his mass in 2014, he clearly stated that your given name is Christian, your last name belongs to the church, the Catholic Church. So universally, there is a surname, and that means a debt or a debtor. Legal, being a legal title, a legal surname, would refer to the fact that you're under legal collection. In order to legally collect from someone with this title, you would have to convince them they are of entitlement to that title or that legal surname. So I get you to adopt it, embrace it, and then you would basically surety it. So it's a very trick-like beguilement that's gone on, but the certificate that's issued, okay, they didn't realize that you would not see that under the definition of inscriptio in Black's Law 10th, that if you were found acquitted, the judgment would come upon the accuser. Now, everything to do with fiction and a lie leads to the lawyers. The lawyers run the whole legal system worldwide. And in fact, they have a legal counsel for every government of man's system. Every government in the world has lawyers operating their counsel for the government departments. So the Office of the Registrar General in each state or province, wherever you are, has a legal services department. And those lawyers are responsible for this fraud. So you've just been accused of having claimed entitlement on this name. You couldn't have done it at birth. And then they have to discharge you because you couldn't have ever been charged. What is symbolically there is the fact is that under the reign of Jesus Christ, everybody was discharged. Everybody was canceled of debt. So these bankruptcy BC certificates represent bankruptcy protection. And it has the signing authorities on there. Because what's unique about the Catholic Church is in order to run legal, they say they're spiritual sponsors, sureties, with the child at baptism, because they have sponsors in there. The word Godmother and Godfather means gossip, hearsay. So this is just a hearsay document. It's just an allegation that somehow the child was going to lay claim to that name as their parents had done so. But in order to protect them, because they had to give you a remedy because they were committing a tort, he who commits the tort has to bring the remedy, they induce the use of your God-given private name to be placed on a document that is legal. And what is private does not belong to the state, the legal state. So they made a tort, it's called an act of state. They damaged who you were at time of birth, and they basically brought you into an implied social contract with Satan. It's very simple. So they had to give you the remedy. Now, the document speaks for itself. So the signing authorities on there are the Godmother and Godfather, and it's amazing that when you look at the Deputy Registrar General and the Registrar General, a male will show up as the Registrar General in Canada, and a female will be the deputy. So they have the Godmother and Godfather who are sponsoring the name version that's on the certificate, and therefore they must pay as a surety to advance all costs and debts for this name. God does not hold them in a situation that is anything more than guilty for what they're doing, because they've denied the ransom sacrifice of Jesus Christ. They're promoting the concept of legal debt. So they're kind of in between. So this certificate in one way looks like the denial of Jesus Christ, but they're the ones signing to that. They denied the remedy, so they have to pay for what is legal costs. There is no monetary cost in society. money is make-believe. And I've dealt with a number of seminars with people trying to get this out of their head, that there is no money. Money does not grow on trees. So therefore, it's not a natural concept. It's a legal concept, which means it's fiction. It has nothing to do with truth. So the lawyers work in the fiction, and they're the devil's advocates. So God holds them liable, as it was when the Pharisees, being like lawyers, said that the people who collectively said, kill Jesus, execute him, based on an accusation that he would have been implied to have been a physical king trying to take over Caesar's realm. Pontius said, I wash my hands clean of it. They said, no, we want you to go ahead and do it anyways. So we'll take the blood or the onus on this, the on us. So it's amazing that the whole worldwide currency has been running through the US, the on us. It is the barometer of the whole debt. And therefore, they're a symbolic nation of Israel that is just literally operated in opposition to God. They're pagans. And they run the debt through it. And the lawyers operate in every one of these societies worldwide. We couldn't make this ever more clear that they're on the hook, because they're literally the signers of this legal prostitution. So this certificate places them in onus, but not when you go and sign and register into a program to take them off of the certificate. So they're the sponsors. The sponsor is a surety, and therefore they are the godmother and godfather of this fraud. And therefore God holds them responsible, because they stated they would be responsible when they executed Christ on the same format that you've been accused as a child. It was nothing more than a legal accusation. The legal surname is not law. It's a legal fiction. It's a lie. And the lawyers are professional liars, and they operate this system. So we're going to refer you to a 1964 Johnny Carson show that had a lawyer, Jake Ehrlich, who did a book called Beyond a Reasonable Doubt. And in the interview on the Johnny Carson show of 1964, there's some interesting commentary when he's conversing with Johnny Carson about the promotion of the book. And you want to listen carefully to that video. And so therefore we will place the link to the video on our video, that you can go and research this and listen to what is said based on what he says about the birth registration process, and how he questions Johnny Carson on how would Johnny Carson know he's Johnny Carson. So it's a really good video to actually watch, and hopefully it'll enlighten you. But remember, you were only framed, and you are pleading guilty by the use of the given name with the last name. You're pleading guilty to hearsay. And so you've gone, and unfortunately the hearsay has to do with the mammon, the title that operates in fiction. So you can't be on an elective path with God and at the same time be operating in there as signing authority for the debt. And they hope that you would do this. So the legal system has duped you into suretying this certificate and taking them off of that responsibility. And that's why there's a separate registration number that occurs from your birth certificate to lead you into the social insurance program, or what we call the Social Security program. Taking a man where no man has ever gone before into the world of spacecraft fiction. It is an amazing scam, and we have to take a deep breath. We're here to do the right thing, and we have the ability to do the remedy that has been provided by God under conscience. So we're going to go into conscience, which will bring you out of this, because only moral conscience can escape you or give you the escape clause to not have to perform for this contract. So let's hope that we slowly get this absorbed into our mind, our hearts, our body, our soul. I've been doing a number of Zoom meetings on this, and we'll do a separate little video to let you know if you'd like to go on to that, because that's why I haven't done a number of videos in a month also, because I've been doing direct Zoom seminars through a 4-level course, but we'll talk about that separately to let you know what that is. And if you'd like to link onto that or get involved in one of those, you can let me know and we'll send you out the invite. So anyways, I hope that this video has been enlightening. I know it's a little longer than we normally do on videos, but now we're getting really into the meat and potatoes of the separation to come out from among them and be separate, which means private. You cannot be part of the public.